I mean, the Cleveland Browns have fucked up the quarterback position for years. They're a dysfunctional franchise. And what really stuck out to me was you just get blown out 32-13. Gabriel has a shit day. And then immediately after the game, you're going into a bye week. You got the Jets coming out of the bye.
Yeah, you have time in the bye.
But immediately you go back to Dillon Gabriel as a starter. You don't take the bye week. You don't take 2 weeks to evaluate, like, hey, should we give this kid a chance? Is he going to give us a shot in the arm to get us going? Because the defense is ready.
Right. The Cleveland Browns just pulled another head scratcher, and Richie Incognito is losing it. After the Browns doubled down on Dillon Gabriel, Richie went off, tearing into the team's entire blueprint with the kind of fury only he can deliver. Fans are in meltdown mode, wondering if Cleveland just threw away their shot at the future. Again. So what exactly did Richie say that's got everyone fuming? Let's dig into the chaos. If you're enjoying the madness, hit that subscribe button. It seriously helps more than you know, because once again, the Cleveland Browns have proven they're the Picasso of bad decisions. Every draft season, this team grabs a clean canvas of potential and somehow turns it into a modern art piece of confusion. And this time, oh, it's their brand new move that's got the entire football world spitting out their popcorn. Drafting Dillon Gabriel again feels like deja vu wrapped in denial. Then here comes Richie Incognito, the walking headline himself, ready to torch the whole situation with a verbal flamethrower. If anyone's gonna tell you your team just bought a one-way ticket to mediocrity, it's Richie. With that signature combo of rage, sarcasm, and pure disbelief, Richie didn't hold back for a second.
Well, for teams like the Cleveland Browns, it's getting late early, as they say. The season doesn't look like it's necessarily going anywhere. And at this point, a lot of Browns fans and or Shedeur Sanders fans and or people like me that want to see something interesting happen are beginning to say, what is going on? Why is Shedeur Sanders not getting a shot?
He looked straight at Cleveland's so-called master plan and said what everyone's been whispering, this looks like a glorified group project gone horribly wrong. You know that one kid who insists on leading the project but ends up doodling stick figures all night instead of doing the real work? That's Cleveland's front office right now, loud, confident, and completely lost. What do you think? Did the Browns just outdo themselves again? So here's the setup, and it's pure Cleveland chaos. The Browns, seemingly allergic to logic and stability, decided that Dillon Gabriel, the lowest-ranked quarterback in the entire draft pool, was their guy. And the second that name was called, Richie Incognito practically erupted. You could see the man's veins popping through the screen like they were ready to start their own protest. Richie's message was simple but sharp. Shedeur Sanders should have been the pick. Not a maybe, not a backup plan, the pick. The one with swagger, poise, and that rare football IQ that doesn't need Google Translate to decode a defense. But nah, Cleveland just couldn't help themselves.
Division, they got a shot. And when he named Dillon Gabriel the starter after the game, I was like, oh, this situation stinks. There's some bullshit going on right now. They wouldn't name him the backup a couple weeks ago. Then we have the mysterious back injury. Stefanski's all in on Bailey Zappi.
He is.
Ownership's been a mess. Ownership, this was Jimmy Haslam's pick, and clearly Stefanski hates Shedeur.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand how they don't go into that bye week. You basically have a 2-week evaluation period.
Right.
Let Shedeur and Dillon split the reps. Whoever wins the job coming out of the bye week, that's who you roll with.
In all their infinite wisdom, they took the scenic route straight back to mediocrity. It's like the Browns are addicted to chaos. Seriously. Somewhere inside that front office, there's got to be a secret department called Decisions That Make No Sense, and it's working overtime. Someone looked at Dillon Gabriel's draft ranking, glanced at Shedeur's highlight reel, shrugged, and said, let's roll the dice. What could go wrong? Everything, absolutely everything. And Richie tore into that logic like a man who's seen one too many franchises self-destruct. He didn't even need to scream. The disbelief in his voice did all the heavy lifting. He compared the move to picking a backup generator for a rocket ship when you've got a Tesla engine right next to it. Brutal, but accurate. Apparently, Cleveland's plan was this: find the least ready quarterback on the board, hand him the keys to the offense, and then act shocked when he drives it straight into a linebacker. It's almost impressive how consistent they are at being inconsistent. You almost have to respect the dedication. Every time fans think the Browns can't mess it up again, the team says, "Challenge accepted." Richie's rant hit every note: disbelief, sarcasm, and that classic disappointed dad tone that makes it hurt.
Currently ranked as the last quarterback in the National Football League. He's below Jake Browning. He's below Carson Wentz. By the way, is it time to start worrying about Cam Ward? Look, if I'm the Titans, you gotta worry a little bit. It hasn't looked good. It hasn't looked good. But Dillon Gabriel, the worst ranked quarterback in the National Football League. Well, you've got that.
Just a little more. Richie Incognito basically treated the Browns draft table like an intervention gone off the rails. You could almost hear him shouting through the screen, "We've talked about this. You promised you'd stop doing this." And then came the comparison that hit like a sledgehammer. Shedeur Sanders. That one stung bad. Richie painted Shedeur as the total package: star power, calm under pressure, real leadership energy. He said Sanders is the kind of quarterback you want when the lights are blinding and the whole world's watching, the dude who can silence a crowd with one confident glance. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel, Richie made him sound like the guy who's just happy to be on the team bus, the intern who somehow became CEO because everyone else quit. The contrast was brutal and hilarious. Picture it. Shedeur walks into the locker room, cool, collected, ready to command the squad. Then Dillon strolls in, holding a coffee cup, asking if the Wi-Fi password still works on game day. You can't make this stuff up. Richie didn't just criticize, he roasted Cleveland like a comedy special. He said the Browns collect quarterbacks the same way people hoard expired coupons, randomly, desperately, and without the faintest idea how to use them. And the wildest part, the Browns front office looked proud. Their GM went on camera grinning like he just invented football itself, while everyone else watching was like,
talk about, which is unnecessary to talk about, but we'll talk about it because, like, does it really matter? Do we give Shedeur Sanders an opportunity here? Because this is always happening every week when we talk about Dillon Gabriel. But at this point, it's like, why not give Sanders a shot?
I don't think there's any doubt that at some point this season, Shedeur Sanders is going to get his opportunity. Been battling a back injury. He was QB2 going into today. Let's contextualize this loss by the Cleveland Browns for a moment. The New York Jets just traded away their two best pieces on their team, right? Certainly on the defensive side, right? If you want to argue Garrett Wilson's in the top two, that's fine. The Browns are coming off of a...
Buddy, that's not a spark. That's a dumpster fire. By this point, Richie's rant evolved from critique to straight-up scorched earth. He tore into their scouting process like it was some kind of bad reality show. According to him, it looked like the Browns evaluate players by spinning a wheel of names and seeing where it lands. Either that, or someone in the coaching staff is literally using Madden ratings as scouting data. You can't even be mad. It's comedy gold wrapped in pure football frustration. And you know what's wild? Browns fans knew this was coming. They've developed a sixth sense for disappointment, like draft day PTSD. The second that pick was announced, you could feel a wave of despair roll through Ohio, like a cold front made of broken dreams. Somewhere, a fan was mid-toast whispering, "Please don't mess this up," right before the name Dillon Gabriel popped up, and the glass hit the floor. Richie said the quiet part out loud. This wasn't just a bad decision, it was a philosophical choice. The Browns don't just make mistakes, they make statements. Their statement this year? We'd rather surprise you with confusion than win with clarity. That's Cleveland football in one tragic sentence.
All of the 2025 draft was the Browns taking Dillon Gabriel in the third round. There's no way that you can be an astute quarterback evaluator and think he was worthy of an asset as valuable as a third round pick. It's time to go to Shedeur Sanders simply because he was a better prospect coming out of college than Dillon.
Then came the Shedeur defense. According to Richie, Shedeur Sanders isn't just a quarterback, He's a movement, the kind of player who walks into a locker room and instantly raises the energy. The kid's got leadership, fire, and that rare spark that makes everyone around him sharper. Cleveland could have had that. They could have had the confidence, the presence, the electricity. But instead, they drafted the NFL equivalent of checking maybe on a job application. Richie's rant hit like therapy for every Browns fan who's ever yelled at their TV during draft night. You could feel the release in every word, years of frustration pouring out like steam from a boiling pot. He painted it perfectly. Shedeur Sanders out there grinding like a future franchise star, while Dillon Gabriel still fumbling with his wristband, wondering if audible is just a Bluetooth setting. And the irony? Oh, it's thick. Cleveland keeps saying they've got a plan, but every press conference sounds like a corporate PowerPoint on false hope. We're building for the future, they say. Yeah, the same way a Jenga tower builds for stability. The fans can't help but laugh through the pain because it's the same story on repeat. A front office selling dreams while the fan base stocks up on antacids. Richie didn't just expose bad management, he reminded everyone that in Cleveland, hope is a full contact sport. Richie even joked that when Cleveland says they have a plan, it probably includes prayer. And honestly, who could blame him? This is a team that's been reinventing heartbreak for decades. At this point, faith might actually be their strongest stat. Then Richie flipped the script and broke it down like a football professor, showing how powerhouse teams like Kansas City, Baltimore, and San Francisco treat the draft like a calculated chess match. Strategic.
So let's talk about the Cleveland Browns today. The fiasco, the letdowns. Let's talk about it. So, Cleveland Browns, because this game against the New York Jets was nothing short of embarrassing. I'm talking about JV Pop Warner football level embarrassing. You've got Dillon Gabriel as your starting quarterback, and I'm going to be honest, this experiment is officially over.
Patient and deliberate. Meanwhile, Cleveland's out here playing Twister on a trampoline. Every move looks fun until someone falls flat on their face. What made it even funnier was Richie's tone. He wasn't even mad anymore. He sounded amused, like a man who's seen enough chaos to just laugh through the pain. That's the kind of laugh you let out when you watch someone try to hammer a nail with a banana. Hopeless but still entertaining. He even threw Dillon Gabriel a small bone, saying the kid might turn out decent one day, just not in Cleveland. Because, as Richie perfectly put it, Cleveland is where quarterback potential goes to retire. It's brutal, but true. They're like a museum of almost. Every few years, they add another sad exhibit. Here lies the next big thing. Then Richie delivered one of the coldest metaphors in football talk. The Browns keep buying new steering wheels, but the car still doesn't have an engine. And somehow they still wonder why it doesn't move. You can't make this stuff up. He even mocked their endless hunt for their guy. Cleveland's had so many their guys, they could build an entire city out of discarded jerseys.
With you guys, losing this game and kind of now being behind the eight ball, do you stick with Dillon Gabriel after this game, or do you think about making a change?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Dillon. Obviously, this is a young players that you're always trying to get one game better and those type of things, but we have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better, all the above.
Somewhere in Ohio, there's probably a landfill that's 60% failed quarterback merch. By the time Richie was done, it had turned into pure comedy gold. He even painted a hilarious mental picture of the Browns draft room. One guy snoring in the corner, another half watching muted college highlights, and someone else saying, "Hey, Dillon Gabriel sounds like a safe name, let's pick him." Absolute chaos disguised as strategy. Someone in that Browns war room must have literally Googled best quarterbacks with short names, saw Dillon Gabriel pop up and said, boom, decision made. You can't make this stuff up. Richie even joked that maybe Cleveland doesn't actually want wins, they just want headlines. Because let's be honest, controversy sells, and nothing screams headline material like ignoring a generational talent waving in your face just to draft the underdog nobody expected.
today managed the most incredible display of absolute suckage. And I've been watching the Browns for like 30 plus years now, and this has got to be the one that takes the cake. Somehow, at the end of the game, even though it was already out of reach, let's just be honest with it, we're only down a touchdown, but the Browns decide on a third down stop, forcing fourth down, they're just going to commit a holding, give the Jets a first down, and then with just the slightest sliver of hope left, maybe the Browns could get the ball back and put something together. Guess what? We jump off sides. Game freaking.
Richie dropped one of his funniest comparisons yet. He said picking Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders was like ordering a gourmet steak and swapping it for a microwaved burrito because it's easier to prepare. That one hit hard, and by the time his rant hit the internet, social media was already on fire. Browns fans were roasting their own team harder than Richie himself. Memes of Gabriel holding a clipboard were everywhere. One meme even showed Shedeur Sanders photoshopped into a Browns jersey with the caption, "In an alternate universe where logic exists." The internet was relentless, and Richie, he loved it. He doubled down, saying if the Browns truly believe in their decision, they might as well rename the team the Cleveland Contrarians, because apparently doing the opposite of what works is their official philosophy. Then came his jab at the coaching staff. Pure comedy. He said watching them handle quarterbacks was like watching a daycare center on game day. Here's your juice box, here's your playbook, and try not to panic when the defense comes running at you. That line had fans howling. And as always, Richie closed his rant with a punchline disguised as wisdom. He said, if you're going to pick chaos, at least make it entertaining. Mission accomplished, Cleveland, because even when they fumble, they do it with style. The Browns' PR team tried to clean up the mess right after, dropping those overly dramatic statements about how Gabriel's underdog mentality and long-term development make him the perfect fit.
It's not even sugarcoated. He's not a real NFL starter. He's a practice squad quarterback pretending to lead a professional team. And Coach Kevin Stefanski, he keeps forcing it down our throats. No pause. Yes, Diddy. You heard me. Yes, Diddy. That's who Coach Kevin Stefanski is. Because even if Dillon throws 1 or 2 touchdowns in a game, that means absolutely nothing when the rest of his poor performance looks this bad. It's abysmal. We've seen enough.
For the franchise's future, translation, we don't actually know what we're doing, but check back in 5 years. Richie wasn't buying a single word of it. He laughed and said, if potential alone won championships, Cleveland would have 20 rings by now. His sarcasm was elite. And when he started mocking the Browns' annual hype videos, it turned legendary. You know those dramatic slow-motion helmet shots and epic soundtracks that make you think a miracle's coming? Richie imagined the narrator saying, this year, Cleveland builds the future by completely ignoring the present. It was brutal and absolutely hilarious. By the time the rant ended, it had done exactly what the Browns never seemed to. It got everyone talking. Cleveland's front office might not have united their roster, but they sure united the fans. Everyone, and I mean everyone, agreed that Richie was right. It wasn't even about Dillon Gabriel being bad. It was about the Browns being predictably unpredictable. Every year, it's the same circus with a different clown. It's like watching someone touch a hot stove every single season just to double check that, yes, it's still hot.
Already out on Dillon Gabriel. I feel like Shedeur Sanders should be starting today. I feel like this is a massive missed opportunity to not start Shedeur Sanders, matter of fact, because you had the extended bye week. You had time to prep Shedeur Sanders to play in this game, and you didn't take it. And everything about this lined up perfectly, from the changing of the play caller with the bye week to it's the Jets that just traded away Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner.
Of course, there's always that tiny, microscopic chance that Dillon Gabriel shocks the world and becomes the next franchise savior. Maybe he proves everyone wrong. Maybe he rewrites the story. But let's be honest, if history tells us anything, Cleveland will find a way to make that miracle look like an accident. Richie closed out his tirade with that trademark smirk that said it all. I've seen this movie before. Because that's the thing about the Browns. They don't just repeat history. They remix it for a new generation. Every season, it's the same plot with different characters, and somehow the ending never changes. By the time Richie was finished, the internet was on fire. Fans were quoting him, players were reacting, and the Browns' social media team was probably hiding under their desk praying for Wi-Fi failure. It wasn't just a rant anymore. It was part comedy special, part roast, part group therapy session for an entire city that's just tired of the heartbreak. Because if there's one thing Cleveland's consistent at, it's turning simple decisions into headline-worthy disasters. The kind you can't look away from, even when you know how it ends. And honestly, that might be the Browns' true legacy. Even when they try to fix their mistakes, they somehow build brand new ones in the process. It's like watching someone patch a leaking roof with bubble gum. You just know another drip's coming any second.
Should win this game. Now Dillon Gabriel has started 5 games. He has 1 win. He got 5 yards per attempt today. In a lost season, which clearly this is a lost season again for the Cleveland Browns, you were going to see Shedeur, and I thought for a little bit that Dillon Gabriel would be able to hold it off. That, okay, he's going to play well. They won't lose because of Dillon Gabriel. It's hard to say that they didn't lose today because of Dillon Gabriel and, of course, bad special teams play by the Browns. So I don't know if it's this upcoming week. I don't know if it's the next week. But sooner rather than later, I think we will finally see the debut of Shedeur Sanders.
When Richie joked that the Browns love a good rebuild, he wasn't exaggerating. This team rebuilds more often than IKEA furniture. Every season starts with hope and ends with a pile of leftover parts and confusion. Cleveland doesn't rebuild. They reassemble chaos every single year. Every season, it's the same speech, we're starting fresh. Yeah, sure. Fresh, like week-old leftovers reheated for the 10th time. Richie practically dared the Browns to prove him wrong. He said if Dillon Gabriel somehow becomes the hero Cleveland's been praying for, he'll personally eat his words. And honestly, those words would probably still taste better than most of Cleveland's offensive game plans. But deep down, you could tell Richie wasn't holding his breath. It's not that Gabriel's untalented, the kid's got potential. It's just that the Browns have a special talent for turning promising prospects into trivia questions. No one remembers. Rain, snow, heartbreak. The fans still show up, waving their flags like soldiers in an endless war against logic. And Richie nailed it when he joked that Browns fandom should qualify for hazard pay.
Why? I don't get what did Shedeur do to Kevin Stefanski? Like, did he sleep with his wife? Did he threaten to kill his children or something? Like, what did Shedeur Sanders do to deserve the treatment that he is getting? What has Dillon Gabriel shown you? This trash can is the equivalent of what I don't even know. Deshaun Kaiser, Cody Kessler, Brian Hoyer at his worst. We have seen some bad quarterbacks in Cleveland since 1999. He genuinely might be the worst one I've ever.
Every game feels like an emotional roller coaster that never actually goes up, just loops through frustration and disbelief on repeat. By the time Richie hit the end of his tirade, he didn't sound angry anymore. He sounded entertained, almost impressed, because let's face it, it takes real skill to make the same mistake look brand new every single year. The Browns might not be Super Bowl contenders, but they are undisputed champions of chaos. Every season, they manage to turn confusion into content and heartbreak into a storyline worthy of a documentary. And as the camera cut away, you could almost picture Richie leaning back with that classic smirk, shaking his head and muttering the words every NFL fan already knows by heart: classic Cleveland. Because if football ever needed a tragic comedy, the Browns don't just star in it, they keep dropping sequels. No script required, just Cleveland being Cleveland. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one. Because when it comes to Cleveland football, the drama never takes a day off.